Hey guys, welcome back to the final video of our holiday cocktail series. During this series, it's been super fun. We've got to chat all about the different kinds of spirits that you can purchase at the store, and this is our last video and we are talking all about rum. Throughout this cocktail series, we've broken down the basics on different types of spirits. So we've gone through tequila, whiskey, gin, and now we're on to finally rum. And basically, I want to help you guys be able to know a little bit more about the ins and outs of spirits so that way you can go into the liquor store and pick out a bottle you know you're gonna love. If you're new around here, I hope that you'll consider subscribing. I have lots more fun videos coming up. We are at the end of our cocktail series, but there's still so much more to chat about in the world of food and drink, so stick around so you can be here for all of that. As with a lot of things that we eat and drink, it's important to know a little bit about the history behind things. So today for rum, I want to start out by giving you a super brief history of rum. So when Christopher Columbus first came to the New World, that's when he brought sugarcane with him. Now, unfortunately, due to the dark time in our history, slaves were the ones that were expected to do the super hard work of harvesting the sugarcane simply so that it could be shipped and sold in Europe. Slaves were also the one to figure out that when you added molasses, which is a byproduct of sugarcane, to yeast, it was able to ferment and turn into alcohol. Now add on the distillation process and you've got yourself the rum that we all know and love today. Now fast forward a little bit, once rum finally got popular in America and the British caught wave of this, they imposed a tax on sugar, which meant rum was then taxed. So that, along with the fact that American whiskey was gaining popularity, it led to a short decline on rum. That is until the 1930s when tiki culture began to pop up in bars across America, and this all started with a Polynesian themed bar in Hollywood. So that's like your quick 30-second, very abbreviated history of rum. I'm going to leave some additional resources in the description box below where you can find a lot more on the vast history of rum. So moving on, what makes rum just so unique? Well, essentially, rum was born from trash. Let me explain that a little bit. So rum is made from sugarcane, and once the sugarcane is crushed and the sugarcane juices are released, they are boiled and turned into a byproduct called molasses. Now molasses, once it's fermented with yeast, distilled, and then aged, is turned into rum. Pretty cool, huh? I should also mention that rum doesn't have to necessarily be made with molasses. It can also come from sugar cane or cane syrup, although most rum today still is usually made of molasses. Throughout this series, we've repeatedly talked about how there's different regulations and restrictions for when it comes to producing different types of spirits. Now with rum, it is actually made in almost every developed nation. So you can see that there's a lot of different types of rum, and because of this, there are less strict regulations on what makes rum. Now, this gets a little bit confusing when we're trying to nail down the different specifics of each different style of rum. So throughout the video, I want you to know that while we're talking about these things, they're not the end-all be-all. These are more just generic things that apply to these specific styles of rum. Just because there's not as many strict regulations or guidelines for rum, that doesn't mean that it's any less of a good spirit than any of the others. With rum, there are a few things that affect the taste. One of those being which barrel the rum is aged in. Rum can be aged in anything from charred oak barrels to already used whiskey barrels to even sherry casks. And all these different types of wood will affect the outcome and the taste of the final rum. Another thing that affects the final taste of rum is the climate in which the rum is aged. As we all know, there's a lot of rum that's made in the Caribbean, and so with that comes a really hot climate. With a really hot climate, the rum is going to evaporate faster, meaning that there's going to be less rum in the barrel when it's aged. Now because of this, a lot of times the rum made in hot climates is going to be a lot more oaky and flavorful than some of the other rums that may be lighter bodied. And finally, the still that the rum is produced in, as well as the different yeast that the distiller chooses to use, will also affect the final taste of the rum. So now that you know what makes rum rum, we're going to jump into the different styles of rum that are available. Starting out, we have light rum, sometimes referred to as white or silver rum. Light rum can be aged in an oak barrel, although it isn't always, and it's typically filtered so it has that clear color and removes any impurities. When we're talking about light rum, it typically has a lighter bodied flavor than other rums, and that is due to the filtration process that it goes through. In terms of popular drinks that you can drink with light rum, think all of those drinks that have the little tiny umbrellas that we usually sip on during vacation. So pina coladas or daiquiris. If you're playing around with making cocktails, you could also layer light rum with a heavier flavored rum for a delicious mixed drink. Next up, we have Gold Rum, and this type of rum is traditionally aged, but it doesn't have to be. If it is aged, however, Gold Rum tends to have a little darker, deeper flavor from the barrels that it was aged in. However, the color that you see in the bottle usually comes from a caramel additive to give it that nice rich color. Typically, Gold Rum is kind of medium bodied. It's a little bit heavier than the light rums, but because it doesn't have too harsh of a flavor, if you have a cocktail that you want to make, you could always replace the light rum for the Gold Rum. Popular drinks to make with Gold Rum are very similar to the ones that we talked about with light rum. You could also make a hurricane or maybe even a rum punch. They would all be delicious. Moving right along to Dark Rum, and Dark Rum is known for being full-bodied and well-aged in barrels. This type of rum is typically a fuller-bodied rum with an intense flavor. We could also categorize Black Rum into this Dark Rum category. The only difference is that Black Rum is sweetened with a bit of molasses at the end to give it that nice rich color, as well as an extra bit of sweetness. Both Dark Rum and Black Rum could be classified almost into a similar category as whiskey with an intense kind of smoky flavor. When it comes to popular drinks with Dark Rum, the Dark and Stormy is a popular drink, as well as simply just sipping on the rum by itself. Up next, we have our spiced rums, which if you ever drink Captain Morgan, this is a popular one in this category. Not really a fan personally of spiced rums, just kind of depends on the drink I guess, but this isn't one of my top favorites. You can probably guess from the name, but spiced rum is flavored from the different spices that go into the spirit. Cinnamon, vanilla, cardamom are all popular ones, and just depending on the brand will depend on the different amounts of different spices that they use. In terms of the taste of spiced rum, it tends to be a little bit sweeter than other types of rum, but the different spices and flavors that are added kind of give it almost a heat and complexity compared to other types of rum. As for popular drinks, a spiced rum and Coke goes well together, as well as different citrus and fruity mixers that you could put into your spiced rum. Next up is rum agricole, and this is spelled R-H-U-M. This is a style of rum from the French Caribbean, and it's a little bit more strict when it comes to the regulations on this type of rum. This type of rum uses sugarcane juices rather than molasses and has to be distilled to 70% ABV. The taste of rum agricole kind of varies because there's different styles such as the light, gold, and dark rum that are all under this one category. Also on our list of rums is Overproof Rum, and this refers to any rum over 50% ABV. Now bear with me because numbers are not my specialty, so hopefully I get all of these right. There are two different types of Overproof Rum. One is Navy rum, and this refers to when the Navy sailors used to get a rum ration, and this type of rum is 57.5% ABV. And then we also have 151 proof rum, which is oftentimes what we see when you see all those cocktails that have the flaming elements. They often use 151 proof rum. And this rum is 75.5% ABV. I also want to address flavored rums because They're often the ones that we drink like Malibu or Bacardi that are flavored with coconut, lime, lemon, lots of different options. These are also considered rum, but they're just not in my kind of like main category of rum because they're just a subset of the light rums that have additional flavors added to them. Now, I think that that's the last style of rum we're going to talk about. I know that there were a lot of them, and there's honestly still even more that we haven't talked about, but I just wanted to give you kind of a brief overview. So next, let's jump into how to find a good bottle of rum. When it comes to what you need to look for in a bottle of rum, it can get a little bit confusing, and that's due to the fact that there's not a lot of information that's always on the label. For example, it's not always easy to tell from the bottle where a rum was aged or even how long it was aged. So let's dig a little bit deeper. When we talk about rum, oftentimes one bottle is blended with multiple different types of rum that are all aged to different various stages. So when you see a number on the bottle, it's typically the age of the youngest rum that has been put into the bottle. So really, it makes it kind of confusing because although it could say a certain number of years, there could be multiple types of rum that are all blended into that single bottle. So you can see how it makes it a little bit difficult to read the bottle of rum and see exactly what the flavor profile is going to taste like. Now, I know that's not exactly probably what you were looking for, so let me give you things that may be a little bit more helpful. So here are 3 general rules to go by when selecting a bottle of rum. First off, think about the different styles of rum that we just talked about. Each of those bottles and styles is going to have a different flavor profile, just like we talked about, and so from that you can kind of guess which style you're wanting to go for either in your cocktail or to drink, and that's a good place to first start. Second, you can do research on the specific company and their specific process for producing their bottle of rum. This can help give you a little bit of the backstory as to what they're using and the different types of rums they're probably blending together for their bottle. If you're looking for a bottle of rum specifically from the Caribbean, you can look for the authentic Caribbean rum symbol that will appear on a bottle, and this symbol was made to help customers identify which rums were created in the Caribbean and are made under the true, authentic regulations and quality of Caribbean rum. You probably didn't think I was going to leave rum last and that it would be one of the most complicated spirits, but there are tons of varieties and lots of things that you can learn to explore and get to know rum a little bit deeper. So as always, I want to leave you guys some additional resources in the description box below. If you're still wanting to learn more about rum, I will leave those there. They really helped me kind of form a deeper understanding of rum. And if you need a recap of any of the information that we chatted about today, I will leave the blog post that all of that is in below, and you can check that out when you need it. I hope that you've enjoyed this Cocktail 101 series and learning a little bit more about the ins and outs of liquor. If you haven't checked out the whiskey, tequila, or gin videos, go back and watch those. They're all super informative, and you are going to know so much the next time we're all able to go out to the bar or drinking with our friends. You're going to be able to drop so much knowledge on them. And of course, if you need some cocktail inspiration to get you through this holiday season, don't forget to check out my blog, homebodyeats.com. I have tons of different cocktail recipes that you are going to have to try. Until next time.